So it's that time of the year when everybody starts to count down to their top favorite songs or favorite albums of the year. I'm gonna count down to my top favorite albums of 2024. But before I get into that, I already have done a video, if you haven't watched already, about my favorite songs of 2024, which you can watch right here. I also talked about hidden gems that you might have missed that came out throughout the year. So other than that, let's get into the top best albums of 2024. 10. Imaginal Disc by Magdalena Bay. The second album by the duo that has a great blend of pop, synth, pop dance, electronic, and more. The album feels like you're diving into a cyber network, offering a chill digital vibe with some electronic surprises that adds a nice twist, keeping things exciting while maintaining that cyber network feel. And the two standout songs for me were Death and Romance, which feels like it could have been on the video game series Persona, which I love, and Fear and Sex delivers a cool breeze, spiritual experience that feels so relaxing. Though I didn't know much about this duo before, this album alone just made me a fan, and I'm just glad that I decided to give this album a chance. And my top 3 favorites were Image, Killing Time, and Watching TV. 9. 12 Notes by Alec Benjamin. An album with a collection of 12 journal entries, each representing a different chapter of his life, exploring the themes of love, mental health, and personal growth. Featuring 2 songs where Alec went in a different musical direction, such as Sacrifice Tomorrow that has more dance pop, and Pick Me with a bit of a country influence. Though these songs are different than his usual sound, they do feel true to who he is. There's also a collaboration he did with Khalid titled Ways to Go, where their voices sound really nice together. And another standout track for me was The Arsonist, where Alec's voice becomes an instrument during the pre-chorus, something that I've always loved that he's done in some of his past songs. And my top 3 favorites off this album were King Size Bed, The Arsonist, and Love the Ones Who Leave Me. 8. Hot City by Bonnie McKee. So Bonnie, known for her writing and co-writing hits such as Wide Awake by Katy Perry, Dynamite by Tyler Cruz, Hold It Against Me by Britney Spears, and more, originally had this album planned to come out in the early 2010s, around the time that Bonnie signed her second major label record deal and released the single American Girl in 2013, the lead single that was meant for this upcoming album, which received a positive response. But when it came to the second single, Slay, the label CEO felt that it wasn't a hit and decided to just shelve the album. And though Bonnie was able to get out of that contract, unfortunately she did not own the masters and couldn't release that album. However, in the years to come, with fan support and asking for her to officially release it, Bonnie found a way by re-recording and reproducing the songs, releasing the album 11 years later independently, bringing the world of Hot City to life, a bright, fun, colorful, perfect summer getaway, a great album that's perfect for any time and holds all the elements that makes pop music fun. And my top 3 favorites were Electric Heaven, Rewind Your Heart, and Hot City. 7. Cowboy Carter by Beyonce. Beyonce's 8th studio album and the second in the rumored trilogy following Renaissance, where we hear her stepping into the country world with influences from pop, folk, hip-hop, alternative, and rock, while still keeping country as the main focus. And one of the songs I didn't expect to love as much as I did was her cover of Jolie, originally by Dolly Parton. Her vocals, the reimagined production, and the added background man vocals towards the end where the lyrics go, "I'ma stand by her, she's gonna stand by me." I loved every moment of it, not to mention when listening to her songs like Daughter and Alligator Tears, it made me hope that maybe one day Beyonce would dive more into the alternative world, a genre that I think she would also shine in because of these songs. This is a great body of work, and my top 3 favorites were Bodyguard, Daughter, and Alligator Tears. 6. Shalala by Winnetka Bowling League. So Matthew Koma, the lead singer who has written, co-written, produced songs for other artists such as This Kiss by Carly Rae Jepsen, Clarity by Zedd, Someone by Kelly Clarkson, and more. I didn't know that he was in a band until earlier this year that I found out on TikTok, which was great timing because they were getting ready to release their debut album, and me, who's already a big fan of Matthew's work and some of his solo music, I was really looking forward to it. The album is pop with this nostalgic feel that has different instruments added in some of the songs such as horns and violins, and the album's pretty much about the experiences one goes through in their 20s, reflecting on the simple times, relationships, and just going through life. And at the end of the album, on the last song, Happy Adjacent, having a new perspective and a realization of the importance of living in the moment because it does go by fast as the lyrics go. If you blink, you're gonna miss it. Another song I also loved was America in Your 20s. It's got such a great beat drop, and besides the deep moments in the album, there was also fun tracks like Handsome, Breakfast for Dinner that I guess has this 50s or maybe 60s modern mix, and Sha-La-La that has a really great production. And if you're a fan of Harry's House by Harry Styles, I think this is an album that you would enjoy. And my top 3 favorites off this album was America in Your 20s, Astrology and Context, and Happy Adjacent. 5. Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish. An album with a great mix of cinematic and some upbeatness while still keeping it chill, like Lunch and The Diner. Birds of a Feather is probably one of the brightest songs on the album, and it's one of the songs where you can really hear Billie's vocal growth towards the end where she sings higher, adding a nice touch of emotion to a song that's about love. And I guess the best way you can describe this album and just where Billie is in her career is that you can always expect something new that stays true to her while she's open to trying new sounds and styles, keeping her horizons expanding and her artistry evolving. And my top 3 favorite songs were Birds of a Feather, The Greatest, and Wildflower. 4. Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. A successful album that featured the #1 hit Please Please Please, along with 2 other top 10 hits such as Taste and Espresso, which was definitely one of the songs that defined 2024. So with Emails I Can't Send, it felt like Sabrina had found her identity as an artist, and with this album, Short and Sweet, it feels like she expanded and evolved from where she left off on the last album, getting more in tune with her artistry. And besides the main focus being pop sonically, there's also other influences such as folk, where you hear it in The Sharpest Tool, which felt like a mature version of the folk sound that she had on her first album, Eyes Wide Open. Then there's also a country influence that you hear in Coincidence. And another highlight for me personally would be Don't Smile, which is not only a vibe, but it's also a great finale to end the standard edition of the album. And my top 3 were Good Graces, Lie to Girls, and Taste. 3. The Torture Poets Department by Taylor Swift. Taylor's 11th studio album, which at first I felt overwhelmed to hear because it had 31 songs. So I decided to break it up and listen to the first 16, and then later on, after like a week or so, I heard the last 15, which was the best approach because it gave me time to let the album grow on me gradually. And as I spent more time with the album, I started to appreciate more of the songs like So Long London, I Hate It Here, The Smallest Man Ever Lived, Robin, and Fortnite. Though it didn't have a lot of upbeat pop songs that I was hoping for, I did realize that this album wasn't really meant to have a lot of upbeat pop songs, which is fine since Taylor already has plenty of those. The album also has more of a personal touch on Taylor's relationships, and she also talks about other things like the song Clara Ball, a song that mentions her relationship in the industry, and also there's Thank You Amy with the capital letter spelling Kim, that is about reflecting on how she felt at the time and feels now about going through the public fallout from the edited phone call with Kanye West that was posted by Kim. Overall, I love how the album felt like a continuation from her last album, Midnights. It may not be for everyone, which is fine. For me, I just needed more time with it, and while gaming or working on something, this album just always hit for me, especially at night, which is probably why I loved it so much. Yes, it had a lot of songs, but I saw it like this. As it is, she's been giving us vault tracks, right, with the re-recordings. I saw the other 15 songs as the vault tracks, and that's how I see it with this album. She's giving us a lot of the songs that we may have not been able to hear if she would have just released the standard version of the album. At least that's how I see it personally. As for my top 3 favorites, it was Florida, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, and The Prophecy. 2. Eternal Sunshine by Ariana Grande. So it had been almost 4 years since Ariana released her last album, Positions, and since it had been a while, and later on hearing that Max Martin would be one of the main producers on it, I was really looking forward to it. Bye, which felt like a revisit into Yours Truly. True Story, which had this unique electro pop R&B synth sound, which I really enjoyed. Of course, there's The Boy Is Mine, that interpret the 1998 song The Boy Is Mine by Brandy and Monica, which she did a remix with. Though the era wasn't as long as past eras, it was one that I was happy to experience each time I got to listen to it. As for my top 3 favorites, that was Supernatural, True Story, and The Boy Is Mine. So my number 1 album is Brat by Charlie XCX. an album that combines electro, pop, dance, and hyper pop together that made quite the impact in 2024, such as the Apple TikTok dance, memes, invention of Brad Summer, and more. And while it mostly does have high energy and upbeat songs, Charlie does get personal in some of the songs, touching on topics like maybe wanting to be a mom, self-doubt, being in the industry, and other things. Although most of the album is dancey, there are slower songs like So I, a tribute Charlie did for Sophie, and I Think About It All the Time, which sonically still keeps the electro-pop elements present in a more lighter tone. And just when you think you heard it all, something new comes around in terms of beats and sounds, adding more depth, like 365. It's a fun album, and I'm glad Charlie has gotten so much attention with it, because it's about time people realize just how amazing she is. Now, my top 3 favorites were Von Dutch, Sympathy is a Knife, and I Think About It All the Time. So did I mention any of your favorite albums of the year, and what are your top 3 favorite albums of 2024? You can share it down below in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.